everybody. It's Mesa Morning Live. This is the virtual episode of October. My name is Mark Cordes. I'm proud to be your host every month, or most months. And boy, I can't believe it's October already. We're already, as we're easing into Christmas, I'm easing into my new Santa look. I have no idea what's going on here. I need a little grooming. I'm going to have to wear a hairnet around my beard now, but it's great to be here. We welcome today our new friends, our good friends. We've got a special guest from a great Mexican restaurant here in Mesa, Los Sombreros. So we're not only going to hear from them, but we're going to sample some of their trademark great food. It's great to be here at Channel 11. Through this whole pandemic and all the craziness that's brought us, we've had to pivot from a live show to a virtual show, and the folks at Channel 11 here have been gracious, supplying their studio and all their talent and all the techs that make it all happen. So thank you, Channel 11. You can always look not only at this episode, but other episodes on YouTube. Check out Mesa Morning Live on YouTube. Well, as I mentioned, I'm going to introduce our first guest because the smell is taking over my senses here. We got to get going on this. Since 1994, Los Sombreros has enjoyed a local following for its delectable Mexican cuisine served by a family of friends. Many of you have been to the restaurant for decades. Whether you're celebrating a special occasion or making a regular day special, Los Sombreros is an iconic spot to enjoy flavorful bites and refreshing cocktails. Are we going to have both? I think we're going to have some of both of those. Now they're in Mesa, and that's why they're here. Representing our episode sponsor, Los Sombreros, I would like to welcome owner Adam Rivera and Chef Julian. Welcome, gentlemen.
Hi, how are you?
We're great. Better now that you're here.
Man, I'm really excited.
You've brought us not only food for us, but the whole crew here. Look, the Channel 11 crew, I've never seen such a positive turnout, and they're all poised, ready to test some of your food. So let's just talk right about the food. Tell us what kind of food, what are you famous for?
Well, first of all, I think we're just a little bit different. Just like if you go to New York City, the food's completely different from California. So I think that's one thing that we're trying to change is everybody's palates. There's northern food from Mexico. I was born in Chihuahua, so I know that northern mix. Well, our food from Los Sombreros is more of a central Mexico cuisine. It's got tons of flavor. So once you start getting to that Oaxaca, San Miguel de Allende, you start looking at more moles, different spices. So we want to bring it to, now Mesa, so you can taste those different flavors, which are amazing. So here today, we brought a few dishes, our delicious guacamole. You always have to start with that.
Absolutely.
Most definitely. So it's amazing guacamole, made fresh every single day. So we're literally almost a scratch kitchen back there. So Julian does an amazing job just every single day, just fresh ingredients.
Now you said now Mesa. So Mesa is that the most recent restaurant?
Yeah, so
But it's not your first.
Right, our first location is on South Scottsdale. So we've been, Scottsdale Road and Thomas pretty much. It's a beautiful little house with a little backyard, and it's very, very cute in there. We have our second location, which we opened last year in Camelback and 3rd Street, that uptown area. And then now we're excited, so hi Mesa. We're excited to be here in Mesa. We've been actually trying to get into Mesa for about 2 years. So finally we're here and we're super excited.
Well, not only that, but there's a special guest that makes Mesa, put Mesa on the map, actually.
Yeah.
He's the mayor. He'll be out
John
here in a while.
guy.
Yeah, exactly.
I've heard of him.
So if you drop his name every now and then, do you get a discount if you mention John?
Yeah, of course,
Okay, we might want to think that one out. Well, that's awesome. What's your favorite dish personally, Adam?
Well, my favorite dish is that puerco and chipotle, which is our delicious carnitas. They take over 15 hours to make, and we pretty much put a tomatillo chipotle sauce on top of it, and it's drizzled with our Oaxaca cheese that gets melted down. I'm telling you, that dish is amazing. And then we also have here with you, we have the pollo con espinacas. My partner, Kurt Risky, he says, that's going to be his last meal, so you know it's good. So yeah, it's 2 airline chicken breast smothered in a chipotle crema sauce, which is unbelievable. The chicken is so tender and the sauce is so good. So you got to try those out. So
that's awesome.
So we're going to show you here these 2 dishes. So the one you're getting presented right now, that's our puerco and chipotle. That's my favorite dish.
Okay.
It's unbelievable. The carnitas are so tender. And then the second dish right there, like I said, is that pollo con espinacas. Once again, just try the sauces, because I think the sauces is what makes us, everything is over a wood fire grill. So, everything we roast is the jalapenos, the tomatoes, everything we roast over a wood fire grill. So it really gives it those unique flavors.
That's awesome.
That makes us Los Sombreros.
Now, I'm going to ask a question, and then I'm going to shove this in my mouth while you answer. You mentioned that you're in Mesa now. Mesa is a huge city. Where exactly, if somebody's watching this, for one thing, you're watching this, you're going to want to be grabbing your car keys and going to the restaurant. Where are you guys exactly located?
We took over a beautiful building on Southern and Dobson. We're right there on the corner, right by CVS. It's a beautiful building. Our designer did such an amazing job. The decor, the second you walk in, it's beautiful. It's like you're in Oaxaca, Mexico, which me and my partners actually took a little trip out there last year. So it's a beautiful decor. She did an amazing job. So make sure when you go into our restaurant, you walk around the building a little bit, because it's very, very beautiful.
Oh, that is fantastic.
Thank you very much. Most definitely.
So I know you like to stay involved in all the communities where you have a restaurant.
Most definitely.
How do you do that?
I think especially one thing we've learned with this pandemic is, if you don't have your community behind you, it's tough, So one thing we've done over the years is always make sure we have our community behind us. So, really making sure that we're helping out the community in any way, shape, or form. So if you have an organization that just needs a little bit of help, come, let us know. We're always looking to see what we can do with the community, especially now that we're in Mesa. I'm super excited to get involved with all the high school, just everything. We're just super excited.
That is really good. And that sauce, that's got a little bit of kick to it.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, that is good. I like that.
Yeah, the chipotle crema.
Now, I'm looking down at the drink. I see a glass with some salt around it.
Yep.
I've never seen one of those before. What do we call those?
So that's our delicious Steve-A-Rita. That was our first bartender that worked at Los Sombreros, Steve. And, he created this margarita. Our margarita is obviously with our margarita mix that we make in-house. Wow. So it's very, very delicious. But it's, made with our Patron Citron. And then we put a little floater on top of Grand Marnier. So it all comes together. That's our #1 selling margarita, the Steve-A-Rita. So come in and try a Steve-A-Rita.
That's great. Well, I can't really drink one now on camera, but maybe...
You already had 2, didn't you?
Well, maybe...
No, okay.
Maybe an IV. I was thinking maybe just plugged right into my vein.
There you go.
Well, that looks great. I know you brought some other things. Talk about the experience. How, for one thing, everything's been changed now with the pandemic. I'm sure you're being extra vigilant to make sure that everybody's safety is your #1 concern. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, obviously just like any other restaurant, we've changed, but I think we've done the best job. Even before, Ducey closed down the restaurants, me and my partners were saying, hey, let's shut it down now. So we were always ahead of the game, and I'm very proud of that. I think we're very safe at the restaurants, but, we've also done whatever it takes, too. When we pivoted with this transition from drive-through, and I remember my first location in Scottsdale, my partner Kurt Risky was like, we got to do a drive-through. So he took one of our decor windows out, and next thing you know, he's like, well, we can make this a drive-through window. And I'm like, okay, but we couldn't reach the cars. So then he's like, well, I got a pizza thing, in a board. So now he put the food on top and he's passing out. So I think we've been pretty creative this whole time of just trying to make it happen. And then once we got people in our building, we were just super safe. We obviously have parents as well as that we want to protect as well. So, whether it starts our employees first and then just taking care of our guests as well.
That's great. Now, I know we only say I only sampled a couple of things. You have a tremendously wide menu, I'm sure.
It's great, we really try to focus on a little bit of everybody, so if in your family you have somebody that's vegan or vegetarian, our menu is very, very good for that. So you can kind of walk in if there's got to be modifications, but we have lots of dishes. We have a vegan chili relleno. We have the vegan enchiladas that are very tasty. So I think that we've done a really good job to say, hey, the whole family can come in and really enjoy our dishes.
Now, I've heard, and I didn't taste it, but I've heard the guacamole's out of this world. A little bird told me that, a bird named Sally Harrison.
Yeah.
Said you could eat that all day long, every day. Guacamole, and then I see some kind of dessert. So you've got a way to kind of start the meal and then end the meal. Is that a dessert over there? Is that
So that's our guacamole here that he's going to put up there. And once again, this guacamole, I'm so proud of my team because they do it fresh every single morning, And once we're out, So people definitely, it's one of those things where you got to get the guacamole. The first thing you come in is really try it. We're also known for our chips. People love our chips. So, come on in. You can get as many baskets and really enjoy our guacamole.
Oh, my God.
Isn't it good?
You guys might be they might be my two best friends right now.
Southern and Dobson right there.
It's really good. I don't want to start chomping chips because if I eat one, and it looks it's like a wood chipper. I'm going to go through the whole basket.
That's the fun part.
And then and I don't want to, Julian, you're an enabler. I'm trying to lose weight. Julian keeps bringing me food. What's the dessert over there? It's like some kind of a churro?
One thing that's awesome about us, like I said, is we're a scratch kitchen. So when you start talking about desserts, we literally make our churros by hand. We make our ice cream literally by hand back there. So I'm very proud that, our ice cream's all made by hand, all of our desserts. So yes, we have our delicious churros. Even our chocolate is made by hand. So it has that really nice touch of just freshness, for sure.
Well, unfortunately now I've taken a bite. And my last question to you, how late are you open?
We're open every single day from 9 a.m. or 11 a.m. to 9. Okay. So, we're there every single day. Right now, we're closed down on Mondays just because we're doing a little bit of construction, trying to finish up the big upstairs because it's a big building. So we'll have that upstairs ready to go here soon. Awesome.
Real quick, tell us again, give us the address.
We're on 1976 East Southern, but we're right there on Southern and Dobson, and we're just super excited to see you guys.
Perfect. If somebody, like my wife, we don't go to a restaurant without her going online first and looking at the menu and figuring out what she's going to order, and then we get there and she asks for the menu again and changes her mind 14 times. But is there a way that people can check you out online?
We've done a great job to be on social media. So obviously, LosSombreros.com. You can go, our Los Sombreros AZ for all of our social media, whether there's Facebook or Instagram. Most definitely, we're on there. You can definitely check us out.
Well, it's fantastic. I'm already ready to come in. That was so good. That guacamole.
We can cancel the rest of the show. You can come with us.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah?
I don't feel good. Maybe I need a little recoup time. This is unbelievable.
Thank you very much.
Guac. And this is kind of cool, too.
Yeah, a little tostada with our name on it.
Look at that. These guys, this ain't their first restaurant, folks. They got this thing figured out. Go check them out. Adam, Julian, thank you so much for... you leave the restaurant, but a lot of people are covering for you, so I know you're busy. Thanks so much for bringing the food in, and so good. And the crew is, they're in their starting blocks, like they're ready to run a race to come out here and get some of this. But we appreciate it. Now, those of you watching at home, go check them out. Go support a local, it's not a chain. This is a small, independent, mom and pop.
Yep.
Kind of place.
Look at these handsome guys right here. I mean, it's just...
Come on, look at that.
It's just me and my partners, and obviously we couldn't do it without our wives, my wife, Bobby, and we have Kurt Risky's wife, Colleen, that backbone, and then we couldn't do it without our chefs, Julian and Pedro. So, they're literally the backbone of everything. So,
well, it's so good. Go give them a try, folks. I promise you're not going to be disappointed. How about a big round of applause at home as you're sitting there hungry for Los Sombreros. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
Well, that was the way I think we should start every Mesa Morning Live, and that is with unbelievably good Mexican food from Los Sombreros. Thanks, gentlemen, for bringing that, and can't wait to come try you. It's a pleasure. We kind of self-isolate here in this studio because of the pandemic, but today it is a treat to welcome, he's kind of like my Ed McMahon. And so without further ado, I'm going to reveal who that is. He's the one and only, he's the mayor of Mesa, Arizona, Mr. John Giles. Welcome.
Thank you. I mean, I'll do my best to...
Here we go. This will help.
For people that are our age, they'll get this, right? Ho, 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 that is correct, my friend. Okay, so that's as Ed McMahon as I get, but I'm going to do my best to to be the wind beneath your wings this morning, Mark.
Well, I've already got I've got my Mexican food fix.
Yes.
And I've got a sidekick.
Yeah.
It's good to have you here. For those of you that aren't regular viewers of Mesa Morning Live, well, what's wrong with you? Number one. Number two, when I can't be there, back when I used to travel, when I had an actual job, my more than able fill-in would be the mayor.
Those were the good old days. That'll happen again. You'll be Corona cruising before long, and I'll be filling in for you. So.
Well, you know what? You're how big is Mesa now? Where are we in the nation's ranking of cities?
We are 35th, 518,000 people. Looking forward to the next census. So we're bigger than Milwaukee and Atlanta and lots of big places that are household names.
Wow. Well, with that in mind, you're probably on the VIP list. You have a hotline to all the people that know all the things.
I do. Yeah.
Tell us what's going on with the pandemic. What do you think? I mean, obviously, this is going to be a crystal ball kind of a thing,
yeah.
But how do you think things are going? How do you think Mesa's holding up? And congratulations, because I know the answer to that.
Well, I think we have reasons to be optimistic, and we have reasons to be not quite optimistic yet. I mean, we need to hunker down, stay the course. We see across the country right now the second wave that we've been told about. Remember 6 months ago that when people were predicting how this was going to unfold, everyone said, get ready for fall because there's going to be a second wave, and we're seeing the beginning of that. So it's not time for us to relax, but there is cause for optimism. I think we're going to see vaccine before too long, probably this spring or hopefully sooner. And so we are going to get past this. So we are planning for the return. Well, we hope it's a V-shaped recovery. Mesa was, the economy was just gangbusters. It's going to be that way again. So we are getting ready. We're opening up slowly and responsibly some of the city facilities like museums and libraries, parks. We're figuring out how to do it. We're following best practices. So we're not going to be irresponsible about it, but. We are optimistic that we're going to be as normal as we can be as soon as we can be.
That's great. Well, I'm springing this on you. You don't know I'm saying this. I read an article in a national publication that said of all the major large cities in the country, there were 2 that did not have any demonstrable violence during all the demonstrations and stuff. Mesa, Arizona was one of those 2. I won't mention the other one, but congratulations. Stuff like that doesn't just happen by accident.
Well, knock on wood. I mean, we have been tried to be very engaged with the various communities that are in Mesa. I think that the leaders of the African American community, the Hispanic community, we're not strangers, and certainly there's a lot of legitimate cause for First Amendment appropriate demonstration of opinions, and we fully support that. But thankfully, we've engaged in other ways in Mesa, Arizona.
That's great. Well, hey, let's kick it off to our next segment, which is always our Community Spotlight segment. And this is brought to us by our good friends at Gateway Bank. For more than 10 years, Gateway Bank has worked hard to earn the opportunity to do business with you. Today's nonprofit organization started 32 years ago in a small yellow house on Country Drive, just south of its present location at Broadway and Country Club. Paz de Cristo offers a hot, nutritious meal every evening of the year to 150 to 200 individuals, serving approximately, ready for this, 70,000 meals a year. Let's welcome the new Executive Director of Paz de Cristo, Mr. Joe Tansel. Joe, welcome to Mesa Morning Live. Good to have you here.
Hi, Mark. Thank you for having me.
Well, welcome to Paz. Give us a little brief background on where you came from and how you got here.
So I came from Chicago. During my college years, I came out to ASU and found that I could play golf year-round here in Arizona, and thought I kind of landed in paradise. And I'm still of that opinion over 40 plus years later.
That is so funny. That's happened. That's what happened to me. So, yeah, that's where we get hooked on the winter weather, and then we get through the summers. But well, welcome, and tell us a little bit about your history and how you arrived at your new position at Paz de Cristo.
Yeah, so I recently retired from serving with Maricopa County and the state of Arizona over 28 years in public service. And I was looking for a new kind of career path to close out my working years. And I feel very fortunate that I came to Paz de Cristo. I actually was with Paz as a volunteer when they got started in that little yellow house on Country Club.
That's awesome. You know, the number that I just threw out there just baffles me. 70,000 meals a year. Who can get a meal at Paz de Cristo?
Really, we serve anyone that comes to the doors of Paz de Cristo. You know, we serve principally those that are struggling financially. You know, the working poor, the homeless. But anyone can come to Paz de Cristo for a hot, nutritious meal.
Well, that brings up the next question. Where do you get your food? How is it made? Where does this come from?
So we get our food, we prepare all our food here. We have a wonderful commercial kitchen here. So we prepare all the food. We get our food from a variety of sources. All the food banks help support Paz de Cristo, and then through individual donors. We accept food from individual donors throughout the week. And then we also have, as I was watching the show and enjoying the piece from Los Sombreros, we also have a number of businesses that will sponsor us and provide us with a meal from time to time. So I welcome Los Sombreros to join the Paz team.
That's awesome. Now, logistically, how do you serve that? I mean, it's not like you have this sprawling campus. How do you serve that many people every night of every week of every month all year?
Yeah, so we're a very efficient operation. We've been doing this for a long time, serving lots of meals. So, you know, we have a beautiful, recently enclosed dining room where pre-COVID, pre-pandemic, you know, we are able to seat all the guests in our dining room, and we have a nice serving line, and it goes very smoothly. And then after the pandemic, you know, we unfortunately had to close the dining room. We've kept it closed because of, you know, CDC recommendations on congregate meals for the population we serve should not be in closed spaces. So we shift to a grab and go meal, which is kind of a walk-through. And we also even have a drive-through service that people come and get their meal and then leave.
That's great. You know, Mayor Ed McMahon.
Yes, sir.
It's got to make you proud to see businesses like this that step up and really.
You know, I'm more proud of Paz de Cristo than I think hardly anything I can think of in the city of Mesa. This is really a legacy institution that for decades it's always been hard to volunteer at Paz de Cristo because people relish, you know, their opportunity to serve there so much because it's such a positive experience. So I typically get to take some city council members and city management down there once a year, and I have to steal, you know, the opportunity to do that from other people, and they don't give it up lightly. So I'm excited to see how well Paz is continuing to do, and they've adjusted so well to the pandemic, and and to the distancing requirements. You know, they have a beautiful new, as was indicated, a beautiful enclosed facility now, but continue to do it in the responsible way of passing it out. And so I'm just curious to know, Joe, are people already fighting, you know, for the slots to come in and prepare meals, you know, under the old way of doing things? Because I assume right now you're getting a lot brought to you from various providers. I know the city has tried to partner with you with some of our COVID relief money.
Oh, absolutely. You know, that's just been one amazing experience through this whole process, is the generosity of organizations and people that continue to support us through this, you know, challenging time. So, you know, we're very thankful. We rely so heavily on volunteers to deliver our meal. We couldn't do it. We have 8 full-time staff here at Paz de Cristo. So, you know, we just kind of work in the background, and the volunteers is what brings the food home.
Did you mind if I interject a quick question? Because I know maybe the public right now, they can't come in and prepare food and serve food like they traditionally have in the past, but you offer other services, you know, that we have seen a huge spike in our homeless population over the last year or so, and we're particularly concerned with that at-risk population during a pandemic. So are there other needs that have arisen? I mean, do you need more clothes? Do you need more money? Has this exposed some other critical needs that you've been trying to address that you need help from the community with?
No, thank you, Mayor, for the question. You know, it has been really challenging times. We are a nonprofit 501c3 charitable organization, so we're always in need of funding. So that's a number one kind of need that we have. But second to that is continuing support of volunteers who are willing to come here and help us deliver our services. We accept donations of food. Right now, we are not accepting donations of general clothing, but brand new clothing we will receive. We offer showers, a hot shower once a week. We have a portable shower unit, and everybody that comes here gets a nice set of new underwear. So they get new t-shirt, underwear, and socks when they receive a shower from us. So we're moving now into the winter season, believe it or not, even though it's still 100 degrees out there. We are accepting gently used coats and blankets. And so that's something that we're preparing up for, and you're welcome to drop those off at Paz.
Well, that was the mayor asked what I was going to ask. What can we do to help? Everybody that's watching needs to know about your services and also feel like they can, if their heart is open to help you, what should they do? Should they find you online?
Absolutely. So pazdecrysto.org. You can learn all about the organization there. You can donate online. You can sign up to volunteer, or you can find us at Broadway and Country Club, the intersection of Broadway and Country Club. It's the Broadway access to Country Club right there, and you can come by and drop off a donation.
And I think rumor has it you've got an event coming up.
Yeah, we do. We have our big annual event is typically a big breakfast, but this year it's a virtual event, and it's actually tomorrow on Thursday, October the 8th from 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock. And you can register through pazdecrysto.org. Just go to the website and you'll be able to see what we do as an organization. And we're so honored to have Mayor Giles and Sally Harrison as our honorees as a part of Paz de Cristo, and thank them for all the support they've given us over the years.
Well, that's great. You know, Joe, thank you for taking time out of your busy day. I know that a lot of people, when they hit retirement, they don't know what they can do meaningful for the rest of their life. You've stepped right in. You've found something that you're calling. and you're doing the Lord's work. Thank you so much for all you do. Thank you, Paz de Cristo. And thanks to all the folks that are watching at home now, because they've found out about you and they're going to help. We appreciate you doing that, and we'll see you at More Than a Meal, your big event. Thanks.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Joe.
All right, we're going to now swing into our next segment. Reborn last October out of the extension of a 4-year-old company called FetchRev, Hound decided through discussions with thousands of companies that effortless and zero-risk foot traffic is what restaurateurs, salon owners, and entertainment facilities really needed to increase their revenue while decreasing time and expertise to do so. Let's talk with the Chief Growth Officer, Mr. Eric Kioski-Smith. Eric, welcome to Mesa Morning Live.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it very much.
Well, tell us what, I am so technically clueless, but I know you have a service called SWAS, which is software with a service. What does that mean? What does that matter? Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, let me put some context behind that. Software as a service is what most people log into today. If you have software that's sitting online or in the cloud, you log in, you have to learn how to use it, and you have to actually use it to make it useful for you. 3 years back, Hound had been helping thousands of businesses, particularly in the family entertainment space, and there were two things we realized. One, people hated having to learn yet another software package just to run their business. And two, they hated having to pay monthly fees to do this. So we launched the company Hound, and software with a service. What that really is we have a phenomenal scalable software tool, but particularly a restaurant who's way too busy trying to reopen and keep things clean, doesn't want to learn new software, doesn't want to have to pay for new software. So we made it software that you get the benefit of, but we run for you. So that's what software with a service means.
So you're basically helping businesses create a digital foundation to enhance their business and maximize profits. How's that?
Yeah, absolutely. And in this day and age, pre-COVID even, most restaurants, the general manager, the owners, the marketing executives have so many hats they have to wear. They already have tons of software, and many of them have gone down that path of our food is so great, people will just show up. Well, in a competitive world, that's no longer the case. In a digital world, that absolutely isn't. So we're walking in to fill this void of giving you consumers, new and existing ones, to get them back in your door more frequently and be able to track that happening, but without you having to, quite frankly, lift a finger. It takes about 5 minutes a week to monitor what we do. And we do promotions, digital promotions and coupons, and then we measure how well that works. And in the end, we only get paid if a paying consumer walks in the door for the business. So I think you add COVID to that, with restaurants having to maximize revenue for every person in the door because they only have a 50% capacity. They have to maximize the use of their employees, and we think we've got a pretty winning combination for them. There's an interesting twist, and the reason I'm on here with, and I really appreciate the Mesa Morning Live, the Chamber, absolutely Sally was phenomenal in helping us. And then, of course, Mayor Giles, who introduced us to his great economic development team. We're an economic development engine for restaurants and other similar brick and mortar merchants. So they've actually sponsored even that small little fee we get when we bring a paying customer in the door for all Mesa businesses that fit, the restaurant and the family entertainment and the health and beauty space that we support. So, and going back to your question about digital, as a byproduct of what we do, bringing in new consumers, we also are building a better digital presence for you in your social media. We're helping your website become more productive. And we're building, and we do email on your behalf about your business to consumers who willingly signed up on your website with their email or giving you birth date information.
That's great. Talk a little bit about what it's like to partner up with the city of Mesa, Arizona. That's a pretty powerful partner there.
It is a powerful partner, and I'm going to give a call out to not just the economic development team and the mayor here, but as a taxpayer, I've been absolutely blown away at how responsive and responsible economic development directors have been around the country. We're doing this in a lot of other cities. Mesa was one of the early ones on board for sure, but they're doing stuff that you just cannot believe as a consumer or a taxpayer that's going on behind the scenes to really make an impact on the businesses out there and actually the consumers as well. So it's been a wonderful experience. We've got a kind of collaborative environment. It's not just the city, it's also the chamber heavily involved, Visit Mesa's involved, the Downtown Development Authority's involved. And we're all in the same boat of we're doing our best to help the businesses who are suffering so much at the moment. And many of them, similar to Los Sombreros, they're local. They're not necessarily chains, although franchise owners are also local too. We're doing everything we can to help them. And it's really been a phenomenal relationship we're building.
That's great. If people that are watching today want to find some of the Mesa offers on Hound, where do they do that? How do they do that?
The easiest URL for you is, it's a spelling over my shoulder, HOWND.com if you're a business. If you're the consumer looking for those specials and offers, it's MyHound, MYHOWND.com. Now, we do offer promotions through there, and I want to stress there are discounts, but we use the word promotions because we love it when restaurants have value-added offers instead. So some people say you kind of sound like Groupon, but we're not. All the money that a consumer pays goes to the business, not to us. And the promotions are designed to really bring you back frequently while still allowing the restaurants to be profitable on using those promotions. So MyHound, MYHOWND, simple app that it will actually show you all the offers within 10 miles of your where you are. And then you have a little wallet that stores all the coupons of the promotions you might purchase.
Well, that's great. Well, thanks for helping us navigate not only online, but navigate through this crazy time of the pandemic.
Mark, can I throw in an endorsement for these guys? One of the real challenges that we've seen come out of COVID is everyone is hunkered down, right? And we do everything virtually. We don't leave. We spend our day in our slippers and our day pajamas, and people bring their cardboard boxes to the front door of the stuff that we need. And so one of the big challenges economically we have as a community is how do we get people back into brick and mortar retail businesses, because that's the lifeblood of our community. So the city was proud, we're delighted to discover Hound. They came very highly recommended. And so going forward, I think we are all going to be a little more digitally connected. Before we go out to eat anymore, we're going to pull out our phones. I think we're already there to a large extent. And we're also looking for deals. So this is really a great collaboration of all of the things that I think the economic reality that COVID has presented to us. You can go to the MyHound app. You can say, hey, look, I got a 2-for-1 here. I've always meant to try Los Sombreros or one of the new restaurants in town. And look, now I've got a financial incentive to do that. And again, it doesn't cost anything on the consumer side, and it's also very beneficial for the retailer as well, because right now the city is covering some of the minor fees that are associated with this. So I hope people discover this and this becomes the new normal, because we're excited and anxious to get people back into the brick and mortar retail establishments. Particularly, we're also very much encouraging outside dining right now. You can continue to do, of course, responsibly takeout and other ways to do it, but really very excited. Hound has been very successful in some of our neighboring communities, and I think it's really going to be a godsend for a lot of Mesa retail establishments, particularly restaurants.
Well, you can't come up with a better endorsement than that from the mayor of Mesa, Arizona. Eric Kioski-Smith, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to come tell us a little bit about Hound. I'm going to check it out, myhound.com. Thanks for your time. All right, that's great. And Mayor, it's good, you've got your finger in a lot of things. You know what's going on. You sample all this. That's what's awesome about it.
I've been one of those guys that stayed in my pajamas and my slippers, but I have been working every day, in spite of what Sally may be telling people. So, yeah, we've stayed pretty busy.
That's awesome. Yeah. Well, hey, it's time for our last guest, which means our special guest, and this gentleman is no stranger to Mesa Morning Live, although this is the first time we've had to do it virtually. I normally get to see his bright and smiling face across the desk from me, but today we'll have to do it this way. I'd like to welcome our guest, Mr. Steve Chukri. Our main guest today serves as a District 2 Supervisor for Maricopa County. In addition, he is also the CEO of the Arizona Restaurant Association. Joining us now, Mr. Steve Chukri. Welcome, Steve. It's been a while since you've been on Mesa Morning Live. I know you've been busy. Tell us what's going on in your life.
Mark, it's great to see you, and you're a great friend. So to not be able to see you in person is a disappointment, but this is going to have to do. And if I might, just for a minute, say something about Eric. I think Eric's product is wonderful. Restaurants need all we can get. And Eric, kudos to you for the great job you're doing. And Joe, just before you took over, I got to meet with your predecessor and see the construction project and things going on with Paz de Cristo, and the work you all are doing is terrific. And I remember as a young boy being born and raised in Mesa, going to Paz de Cristo. And so we are well aware of the work you do and are very grateful. And then to the guy sitting across from you, Mr. Cordes, this guy who calls himself the mayor, John is probably one of the best and biggest cheerleaders we've had for the city of Mesa. And we're lucky to have him as mayor, and I'm lucky to call him a friend. So with that, I will tell you that, we're doing the best we can as an industry. And as Eric can tell you, and many others who are familiar with our industry, that COVID-19 came with no playbook. And it certainly has thrown the restaurant industry, not only here in Arizona, but across the country for a loop. And let me just tell you two quick things, and I'm sure you've got questions. First and foremost, restaurants in Arizona last year had total sales of $13.4 billion. In the month of April alone this year, when COVID hit, as we all know, at the unfortunate perfect time, with spring training going and everything, we lost $815 million in sales. This year across the United States, this is a huge number, we were slated to sell just under $1 trillion worth of food. We were slated to sell over $900 billion worth of food in the United States. To date, we have lost as an industry across the country $250 billion. So there's a good part of this story, and as many will tell you, that restaurateurs are some of the most resourceful, innovative people I've come to know. And I'm happy to talk about some of those things later in the show as to just what we're doing to try and keep that connection to our patrons and our guests.
Wow, those are staggering numbers. And not just numbers, but the amount of jobs that goes along with that. Tell us a little bit about how many people are employed or pre-COVID were employed by restaurants in the state of Arizona. Any rough ideas?
Oh, absolutely. We have employed 230,000 people in the state of Arizona. And keep in mind, that is only in the food service industry. That is not a cafeteria at a hospital. That is just what you see in the restaurant space. So when you look at that, and then you look at the ripple effect, sadly, that came in the springtime with COVID-19, we have displaced 70% of our workforce. Our daily payroll went from 14.5 million per day down to 2. So if that gives you any kind of fear factor, it should. And we were successful, and I'm happy to say, thanks to Crescent Crown there in Mesa and many other folks as part of our industry, to raise $400,000 in what we call Arizona Restaurant Strong, to give $500 grants to those displaced workers. And Mark, they still haven't all come back. I think we're probably at 40% displaced now, which is still troubling. But as we start to ratchet back up from 50% occupancy, hopefully soon, to 100%, we'll be able to bring those employees and oftentimes family members back into the fold. But it's wreaked havoc on our personnel and our employees.
Well, that's a shame. And I know, I think we both have a place up in the White Mountains of Arizona where we escaped to, and it's been devastating. I've spent most of my summer up there, hence the Santa growth. It's devastating to watch all those little small mom and pop restaurants that just couldn't make it. You know, they've boarded up, and you just pray and hope that they can come back. But it's scary.
It is, Mark. And we've lost about 1,000 restaurants since this hit, which represents about 9 to 11% of the total restaurants across the state of Arizona. And a lot of them aren't going to come back. Now, on the bright side, we've seen expansion. We've seen people like Los Sombreros who I just told you I was there Friday night, and their green corn tamales are the best, by the way. But we've got to see them grow. We saw them grow from their original location in Scottsdale to Phoenix there in Camelback, and now to Mesa, which is wonderful. So what you see, that's a great example of what we're witnessing. They already had those expansion plans. They already were a part of those expansion plans. They had already ensued. So they're not going to just pull the plug. They're going to still have to pay the rent. So they might as well open and see what they can do. We have very similar situations with other mom and pops across the valley who are in the midst of expanding their restaurants and certainly couldn't pull the plug. It made no sense to do that. So while some of those closures are being offset by new openings, which is wonderful, we're still going to have a net loss of several hundred restaurants across the state.
You know, you mentioned earlier that restaurateurs are very resourceful, and they've had to be. They've had to do things a little bit differently and think outside, call an audible, if you want to use a football term.
Yeah.
A lot of to-go. People are just hanging on through that. What are some other ways the restaurants are going to evolve and change?
Well, there's a few things. First, you mentioned it. Within 48 hours of the governor calling for the shutdown of restaurants, which we understood at the time that had to be done, we pivoted to takeout. We, as you probably are aware, have been very successful with our Arizona Restaurant Weeks. We quickly, within, like I said, 48 hours, pivoted to takeout weeks. And we were able, over the course of about 10 to 12 days, upload 700 restaurant menus for restaurants across the state of Arizona. We cut 3 commercials. We bought advertising. We got the word out. And now, Mark, what was once 6% of your profit and loss statement for a restaurant, which was takeout, has now become 20% of your profit and loss statement. And that's here to stay. I think people are going to like the convenience, and where we need to get more nimble and agile is to make sure that we can take our menus and bring them right into your living room, your dining room, or your kitchen for you to enjoy. So packaging is going to be a very big important factor going forward, because not all restaurants will allow their whole menu to be purchased and for takeout, because it just simply doesn't hold well. You're going to see a lot of that happening. To-go alcohol has been wildly popular with consumers and others alike. Of course, it needs to be done responsibly, and we want to make sure it's done responsibly. But I think you will see legislation coming in January at the legislature to make that more of a permanent fixture in what restaurants have to offer and provide. And then lastly, I would just tell you it's technology. Technology, as you can now see going into a restaurant, you scan a QR code, the menu pops up on your phone. You'll continue to see that in the front of house. You'll likely start to see automation and table service for paying for your meal occur. And then in the back of the house, I think we're going to see more robotics and other things instead of people, just because of labor rates getting so high and having such a constriction on the industry and trying to make up for lost ground that we've experienced in recent months with COVID-19.
That makes sense. And Steve, since I got you and the mayor kind of together here, talk a little bit about the grant that Maricopa County and City of Mesa are involved with.
Sure. Well, I just want to take the opportunity to thank Supervisor Chukri and Supervisor Sellers, who are the 2 great representatives for the county and that represent Mesa. They have really been advocates for our community, and we appreciate all that they've done to help our citizens, weather the storm. So, specifically, Steve, I know very recently you extended the small business grant program, which $25,000 grants for businesses of 50 or less, and it includes nonprofits, which is great. With a lot of the nonprofits in Mesa, like Paz Cristo and others, are really much in need. So, on behalf of the community, I just want to say thank you for that. And that came shortly after the county also extended some generous benefits on rental assistance that we're administering, over $6 million. So that we are all very nervous about what's going to happen when the moratorium on evictions expires in the near future. We are very afraid we might see another spike in homelessness. And so thank you to the county for staying ahead of that, and then also the additional assistance you're offering for small business grants. Very much appreciated, and there's a lot of people in Mesa that are going to be really, I think we're going to avoid homelessness. We're going to keep businesses open. It's going to be very successful. So thank you.
Well, no, thank you, John. I think Eric spoke about it earlier, about the great talent we have in the city of Mesa with the employees in the leadership of John Giles and others. And that's very true. And I think that's reflected in what the mayor just said. Look, this is a partnership. Mesa will always be home to me. I was born and raised there. My grandfather started a car dealership in 1928 there. And so it's always going to be home. And it's, as you heard at the outset of this show, it's growing and growing well over 500,000 people. And so we have to make sure we're serving our community. And what the mayor pointed out, Mark, about having to change up the grant amounts, it wasn't working. And so I campaigned 8 years ago on bringing a business mindset to Maricopa County, and that's exactly what we've done. And as part of that, it's bringing good communication with your fellow leaders like John Giles to say what's happening there. We don't always agree, John will tell you that, but we agree a heck of a lot more than we disagree. So we came back, we figured out how can we make it work. We changed some of these amounts, we made sure we were communicating it out, and now it's going very, very well. And to John's point, John has stepped up as well as the city council on homelessness. Mesa has have partnerships with New Leaf and other entities to try and help our homelessness and not say it's a Phoenix problem or a Scottsdale problem. They're looking at it head on, and they're one of the few cities, I will add, that has done that. So it only made perfect sense for us to step up in this way to try and make sure that we can do rental assistance so we don't see our homeless population increase.
That's great. Well, tell us a little bit about, I know you're the head of the Arizona Restaurant Association. What kind of work is involved with that? What do, I never realized, you never stop and think how many people are employed by restaurants, but it's a pretty powerful group. What happens on your end there?
Well, I'll tell you, I've had the good fortune to be in this job over 18 years, and this has probably been the most stressful and difficult year to see restaurateurs crying. People I would never imagine would cry, but to see what the devastation has done to their business. We are a passion-driven industry. We are a people-driven industry. So to even be able to hide a smile with a mask is hard for us to accept, not because of the safety precautions, but because of we are the hospitality industry. I was with Dick Marriott last year at an event. We both sit on the board of the National Restaurant Association. He said, never forget, he pointed his finger, that we are the industry of happy. And we are the industry of happy. And I'm proud to say that we have risen to the occasion with this pandemic. And as an association, we stood with our members. Our job was to make sure that we did what we could to make them continue to do business. And it comes down to three simple things for us. It's advocacy, it's education, and it's collaboration. And advocacy was very front and center in working with our various governments and our governor's office to ensure restaurants could still stay open in a safe way and still feed the public. And many people don't realize, Mark, and to be candid, I didn't realize until this pandemic how much of a food source we are to the senior population. The senior population depends on us for at least one, if not two meals a day, because they're cooking for one person and they simply don't want to. So a lot has come out of this, a lot of good has come out of it. And I think most importantly, you saw the perseverance and the might of restaurateurs across this state come together and keep our doors open and keep pushing forward.
Well, that's great. Well, let's keep it safe. Let's keep it, I like that, the industry of happy. And thanks for, I never thought I would say this to you, but thanks for being a sane voice. Our neighbors to the west, you saw what the governor of California said yesterday. He thinks that people ought to have to wear a mask into a restaurant and then put it back on between bites. So thanks.
Yeah, I did see that, Mark, and then I saw right after an Israeli company came up with a mask that's $3 that you can actually pull a lever and it will open up the mask so you can take a bite. I will tell you, my mother and grandmother always said, if you can't say something nice, don't say it at all. So I say that fascinates me, what the governor did in California. It's very fascinating.
I would like to mock it. That's hilarious. I would love to mock it, but the way I look at it, I just shrug my shoulders and say, thanks for increasing my home value here in Arizona. Because there's certain people that are just going, this is insanity.
Sure.
Let's face it, Mayor, a lot of your people that are moving into your city are coming this way.
No question about it. And I think we probably have a lot of restaurant-oriented people watching this show today because of Steve's presence and obviously the emphasis on restaurants. So if you don't mind, let me just make a quick pitch. We have been working with Steve and the Restaurant Association and restaurateurs in Mesa during the pandemic, trying to do all we can to offer the assistance we can. Feeding Mesa is a program that we've launched to try to work with a lot of local restaurants. I've spent more time in restaurant kitchens over the last few months than in my entire life. So watching and supporting some of the restaurants that are closed out front, but their kitchen's open and they're providing meals for first responders, for assisted living facilities, for charities and hospitals. So that's been really fun and rewarding to see. And also to that end, we've launched a new program in the city of Mesa called Al Fresco, where we're encouraging restaurants that maybe to this point haven't had outside dining, or maybe they've had some and they want more. We're relaxing a lot of the city codes that would have been a barrier to that previously, and also incentivizing, offering up to $1,000 to buy the chairs and the umbrellas and the things you might need to encourage more outside dining. So thank you to Steve and to the industry for being so creative and so innovative. It's been amazing to see what people that are so creative in the kitchen, how creative they can be business-wise too, to keep their businesses going during this very challenging time.
And those of you that are sitting at home, we've all got our favorite restaurants. Try and frequent them. Try and tip, maybe a little extra tip, because the servers need it and the whole staff needs it. And also what I've tried to do, I've bought gift cards for future use, thinking that the little cash flow infusion right now might help our favorite restaurants. So everything you can do will come back. You want to keep your favorite restaurants in business, and we can all help that. Steve, thank you very much for taking time out of your busy day. I'd like to kind of wrap this up. We do have one more guest, but before I introduce them, I'd like to thank our great guest today from Los Sombreros, Adam Rivera and Chef Julian. Wow, that was good stuff. I'm hoping there's some of that guac left. Representing Steve Chukri from the Arizona Restaurant Association, Joe Tansel from Paz de Cristo, and Eric Smith of Hound. We thank you all for making Mesa Morning Live's October virtual episode what it is. This month's Mesa Morning Live was brought to you by Los Sombreros. Go check them out, their new location. We'd like to thank my Ed McMahon, the mayor. There you go. The mayor of Mesa, Arizona, Mr. John Giles.
You are correct, I apologize. I should have been laughing a lot more.
That's right.
I'm going to bring a laugh track. If you give me another chance, I'll figure out how to do better. I
appreciate your honesty. The lot of laughs. I don't need pity laughs.
If you'd been just a little bit funnier, that would have helped.
Well,
but
there's always next month. Okay. Let's do it again next month. We'll have you back. I think more food from Los Sombreros would be a great call, and we'll make that a monthly thing.
All right. I'll save all my laughs.
There we go. Well, hey, for the first time, we had really great food. We're going to do something we've only done one of the time, and that is some music. We'd like to share some of the great Latin sounds of Guitarras Latinas right now. Ladies and gentlemen, Guitarras Latinas performs an incredible variety of rhythm and styles to enhance the ambiance of any event. They have recently performed at Chamber Members Los Dos Molinos, as well as our great country club out in Mesa, Los Sendas. You can find them online at latinguitars-az.com. Without further ado, take it away. The sounds of Guitarras Latinas.
Ay, mi amor, ay, mi morena, de mi corazón. Vamos, Freddy, ahí. With Gina, Joan, and who knows who, I'm getting tired of waiting and fooling around. I'll find somebody that won't make me feel like a clown. This can't go on. Hey, hey, hey. Alex, causa más libre, causa de amor. Vamos, Kenito, vamos, bonito. Ay, yo me siento, ay, triste y solo. Jumpy, jumpa, cada día yo te quiero más. Jumpy, 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 jumpa, cada día yo te quiero más. Jumpy, 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 jumpa, cada día yo te quiero más. Jumpy, relax at the nightmare, we are programmed to receive. You can check out anytime you like, but you can never leave. Don't turn your back on me, baby, 'cause I might just pick up my registers. Oye, cómo va mi ritmo bueno para gozar, volar. ¿Qué dice, guau? Si tú pensaste me quedándolo, yo sé que estás pensándolo, tiempo mirándolo, mami, estoy mirándolo. Sabes que tu corazón conmigo me hace bam, bam. Sabes que esta nena está buscando de mi bam, bam. Verme mami moca para ver cómo te sale. Quiero ver amor a ti te cabe. Yo no tengo prisa, yo me quiero dar el viaje. Empezamos lento, después al mar. Pasito a pasito, suave, suavecito. Nos vamos pegando poquito a poquito. Cuando tú me ves. Eso.